Hi everyone, welcome back to Kids Corner. Here we are at the end of October already. Remember, you have until next Sunday to say your verse to me. So make sure you ask your mommy or daddy to call me this week if you have your number, or you can look up First Baptist Church of Waterford, Connecticut, and you can say your verse to our secretary, Mrs. Ledestre. You can call her or you can leave it on our voicemail. Make sure you leave your contact information so that we know where to find you so I can have something for you because we're keeping track of who's memorizing their verses. All right, here it is. One last time for October. Trust in the Lord with all... Oh, sorry, that was upside down. I can't see the same as you guys. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Proverbs 3, verse 5. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Proverbs 3, verse 5. All right. Today's story is called Daniel and the Scary Sleepover. Have you guys ever been on a sleepover before? This was a scary one. So this is about Daniel and the lion's den. And it's taken from the book of Daniel, chapter 6. Things were not looking good for God's people. They had been captured and taken far from home, and now they were slaves of the king of Babylon. But God had not left his people. He was with them, and he was looking after them. Daniel loved God and obeyed him. Now God made Daniel able to understand lots of difficult things. So it wasn't long before the king of Babylon noticed him. King Darius liked how clever Daniel was. So he made Daniel his most important helper of all and put him in charge of lots of other helpers. But the other helpers didn't like this. They wanted the king to like them best. So they wanted to get rid of Daniel. So they spied on Daniel. They tried to find things wrong with Daniel, things they could tell the king, things they could, but there weren't any. None. They couldn't find anything at all. Except there was just the one thing. Every day, 3 times a day, without fail, no matter what, Daniel went to his room, closed the door, and prayed. So over here you see Daniel with the king, Darius, and there he is praying. They smiled to themselves. Let's get the king to make a law. No one is allowed to pray to anyone except to the king. Daniel won't obey this law, and he will be punished. They were pleased with themselves for being so clever and hurried off to tell the king. The king liked their idea. He didn't know they were tricking him, so he made it into a law. Everyone must pray, only to me. If you don't, the lions will have you for their dinner. Daniel heard this. He knew it was wrong to pray to anyone except God. He had to do what God said, whatever it cost him, even if it meant he would die. So Daniel went to his room, closed the door, and prayed to God. So you can see, here are the other helpers going to King Darius and telling him their idea because they wanted to trick him. That's just what the bad men knew Daniel would do. They skipped straight off to tell the king, "Oh, your most glittering highness, your law says, does it not, that everyone must pray to you alone, sire?" "Yes," said the king. "Oh, magisterial brightness, then correct us if we're wrong, but it would seem that Daniel is praying to God, not to you." The king was sad. He had been tricked. He didn't want to hurt Daniel, but he couldn't change his law. And so he let the soldiers throw Daniel to the lions. May your God, who you love so much, rescue you, the king said. And so you can see what's happening in the picture here. There's the lions on the bottom, and there's Daniel. That's a hole. So the lion's den was underground. So they put Daniel down and inside with the lions. The king went back to his palace, but he didn't sleep that night. Not a wink. He tossed and turned until finally, at the first glimmer of dawn, he leapt out of bed and ran straight to the den. Daniel, he cried, has your God rescued you? Yes, Daniel shouted. God sent an angel to close the lions' mouths. And there, resting his head on Daniel's lap, was the biggest lion, purring like a little kitten. The king brought Daniel out of the den. Look, he said, Daniel doesn't even have a scratch. The king made a new law. Daniel's God is the true God, the God who rescues. Pray to him instead. God would keep on rescuing his people, and the time was coming when God would send another brave hero like Daniel, who would love God and do what God said, whatever it cost him, even if it meant he would die. And together they would pull off the greatest rescue the world has ever known. Remember, every story in the Jesus Storybook Bible points back to Jesus, and that's where it pointed back, that God is going to send his son who's going to die for us, and that is our greatest rescue. And here's a picture. You can see there's the king looking into the lion's den, and there's Daniel. The lions are all asleep. They didn't bother him at all. What a great story. Okay, our verse one last time for October. It's right side up this time. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Proverbs 3, verse 5. I hope you all have a great week, and I hope to see you all really, really soon. Bye.